Okay, so where were we? In the last video, we added the step button and we added some stuff to the store, and that's cool. But now we need to actually put it up on the screen. And what we're going to do is we're going to bring in this step sequencer code. And I also brought along Ken's original code because I wanted to actually contrast and compare the two. So let's start by bringing this in. And I'll talk a little bit about Flexbox versus grid versus absolute positioning versus not. So, okay, let's go over here to step sequencer and bring that in. Okay, so what you've got in this is you've got a template that's got, it's going to be a grid, right? So it's going to have a whole bunch of titles. That's the H2. That's going to be the track name. It's going to, whatever, drum, snap, hi-hat, whatever. And then below that, there's going to be an iteration of all the different steps, right? And so in our model, every one of these is specified by these grid column, grid rows. So that actually puts it in its right spot. And if you're familiar with grids, you're like, okay. I mean, as long as you roll the divs out in the correct order, it should auto flow properly. Well, the reason we're not doing that is because we have this overlay, and that's this step indicator. That's the kind of vertical bar that shows where the drum machine is in its process. So the way that I did it in this one was to do basically tell it, okay, start on the current step, which is numbered, I think is starting at 1. So plus 2 then, because you got the title being the first column. And then go everywhere from row 1 all the way down to 9. And that's going to give you your kind of vertical bar. If we have more instruments, we'd have to change that out to 9, 10, whatever it is. And that gives you the ability to put one cell over another. If you've got auto flow cells intermixed with stuff that's positioned like these, positioned in the grid, then the auto flow stuff will move out of the way to give space to the absolute position stuff. So that is a difference. And then there's the map. So let's go into the scripting part. Then there's the map state. That just brings in the current state elements from the tree, from the store. And then finally, you've got our steps. Again, it's going to be a grid. It's going to have the first column is going to be this 155 pixel layout. And then it's going to be a repeat of 37.5 pixels going out. We probably will change that, hopefully, if we can get this going responsive. And then, but that matches what he has currently. And then finally, the name in its righteous font and all that. Okay, but notice this is the only place that we put direct numbers of pixels in there. So that's important to see. There's none of that in here. And then we kind of pose that with Ken's original code. So we had kind of Flexbox, and that was doing your wrapper. And then within that, it was this indicator, that ST indicator that we had before, is absolutely positioned. And then we go, I guess, hold on, is that one of these two? Oh, I see. Yes. The indicator wrapper is absolutely positioned. And then within that, you have the step indicator, which gives you your left and right. And this is how he's basically doing the step indicator. So that means that if you change the width of the display box, then you'd have to go and change out this. You'd have to actually do the math and figure out all the pixels and stuff. So hopefully, having moved to grid will alleviate that problem. Okay, so I believe let's see, have we saved that out? Yes, we have. So let's go back over to main.js and bring in our last item, step, and step sequencer. And finally add that. Save that out. And let's go over here to Traplord and refresh. And hey, there we go. Cool. Okay. And we can turn stuff on and off. Wow. Cool. So this is starting to look like our app. We can play and stop, but nothing's actually changing because we haven't enabled that tone transport, which is actually going to do the work for us. And we'll do that in the next video.